I think Bitcoin will be over 250,000 by the end of this year or next year.
What's going to drive that, do you think?
What'll happen is that the tariff stuff will be a dud, and then people will realize that the world is willing to negotiate.
That was Charles Hoskinson speaking to CNBC, and CNBC just reposted this last night, and Charles has plans for Cardano to dominate the entire altcoin sector, and it involves Bitcoin as the secret ingredient to overtake Ethereum and Solana. Because in case you didn't know, Cardano and Bitcoin, there's big plans.
We're going to get Bitcoin to work with Cardano, and we'll be there at May 2025 at Bitcoin 2025. And we'll have a great demo for that. There's a lot of people we're bringing.
And the Bitcoin demo will enable Cardano and Bitcoin to team together for Bitcoin DeFi. And Bitcoin DeFi is just going to be when people use their Bitcoin to earn extra income or passive income, and Cardano will be the backbone for that. But let's let Charles break down how much Bitcoin DeFi could potentially be worth.
When Taproot came and Bitcoin DeFi came, Bitcoin now has the ability to pay yield. Because people can flip a switch, they can turn on Bitcoin and DeFi, and they get yield from their Bitcoin. Nation states are buying Bitcoin, ETFs are buying Bitcoin. There's too much retail interest in it. There's too much structural liquidity in it. It's really a question of, can they get a smart contract layer? And because of Taproot, they can.
But now Charles breaks down how valuable Bitcoin DeFi will be in dollar terms.
There's already $5.8 billion in TVL from the Bitcoin side. They're not even trying. So when you pull that lever and you get 5 or 10% of the supply involved in that, that'll be larger than the entire market cap. The TVL will be larger than the entire market cap of Solana or potentially even Ethereum. It's 4 times the size of Ethereum and Solana, the market opportunity there.
And so by enabling Bitcoin DeFi with Cardano, there's now a real shot for Cardano being the dominant altcoin in the crypto space. Now, before we do the price prediction here, I want to break down why, real quickly, Cardano is well positioned for Bitcoin DeFi, more so than Ethereum, more so than Tron, or more so than Solana. Well, the reason is because Bitcoin is a UTXO. What is a UTXO? UTXO stands for unspent transaction output, and a UTXO is kind of like an individual bill in your wallet, like a $20 bill, each of them with a unique value. They have an example. So say you have 0.52 Bitcoin in your wallet, it might have several UTXOs, like a 0.2, a 0.15, and a 0.17. Each of these is distinct and can hold any amount of Bitcoin. They're the pieces of Bitcoin you haven't spent yet, and you can use them to make new payments. And so Bitcoin UTXOs, these are like bills in your wallet. I give you a $20 bill, you give me some change. And so that's a UTXO. Different than Ethereum, which uses something called an account model. Now, UTXO versus account models, Bitcoin uses UTXO. Ethereum and EVM chains use account model. And an account model, just think you have a digital account on your bank account. If a store uses your digital account, they don't pull out a $20 bill and give you change. They just deduct the $17.37 or whatever the amount might be. So that's the difference between UTXO and account models. But now let's enter Cardano. Cardano is extended UTXO, or they call it EUTXO. Cardano, like Bitcoin, is an unspent transaction output based blockchain, extended unspent transaction output model, which was introduced by Cardano with the Alonzo upgrade, and it supports smart contracts. I want to give a quick shout out to LBank Exchange. It is my favorite exchange to get all of the latest trading pairs, all of the hottest meme coins and altcoins. You can go to the spot trading, or you could do futures perpetual trading. And we have a link down below with the tutorial on the top of our page. Tons and tons of features here, 24/7 customer support, huge reach here, huge volume, millions of users, and they have over 200 countries and regions covered. So go ahead, open up an account, deposit some funds, and start your trading journey. And so Cardano is better positioned than an Ethereum when it comes to Bitcoin DeFi because it's already basically a UTX model versus the account model like the other chains. But you want a price prediction, so that's what we're going to give you here. So on price prediction news, we're going to go with Charles's target here. Charles said Bitcoin could hit 250K by late 2025 or early 2026. And so what does a 250K Bitcoin mean for Cardano's price action, especially considering all the news that we're seeing with UTXO and the Bitcoin DeFi space? And so first thing we're going to be looking at here is Cardano priced in Bitcoin. Now, when you zoom out, we're going to go to the weekly here real quickly. You can see, Cardano just has 2 basically trend lines that is kind of following. It has the upside that is descending, and then it has this bottom side that recently has lost support. So we're going to zoom in a little on this bottom part. Now, this is a multi-year trend line that I think is just a little too coincidental for me to think that the whales aren't paying attention to it. Just seeing how it reacted, in the previous few months, this is since November, knocking against it, took a while to get past this resistance. bounced off of it like resistance. So I really think the whales are looking at this trend line here. And so we do have a little bit of a speed bump. Cardano has to get above this trend line. And you can see right there, each ADA is worth about 740 Satoshis. But it used to be a lot more when you're looking at the price of Satoshis. Satoshi is 1 unit of Bitcoin. Last cycle, 2021, it got as high as 6,000 Satoshis. So we're talking about a major difference, almost talking about a 10x. But we're not going to do the moon math. We're not going to go to where it was here, 2018. We're not going to go to where it was in 2021. We're just going to follow this trend line and assume Cardano can at least reach the top of this line. And so we're going to measure the move and see how Cardano priced in Bitcoin is set to change following this move. And it looks like Cardano could do roughly about a 4.5x. So 100% gain is a 2x, 300% gain is a 4x. So we're looking at close to a 4.5x. So Cardano price in Bitcoin could do a 4.5x. But we're not talking about a $84,000 Bitcoin. We're talking about $250,000 Bitcoin. So if Cardano blasts off against Bitcoin, gets that many Satoshis, we'd be looking at a little above 3,000 Satoshis. So if Cardano can hit a little over 3,000 Satoshis and Bitcoin can go from 84,000 to 250,000, what are we looking at for Cardano's price? So the math is pretty simple here. 250,000. 1/3 of that is 83,300. Bitcoin's price, 84,000. So we're just going to triple Bitcoin's price instead of, changing the math too much here. And Cardano's price right now, 62 cents, 62.71. And so we're going to multiply 62 cents times the 4.5 that Cardano should gain against Bitcoin times 3, which is Bitcoin's price, because Bitcoin could triple. And so 62 cents times 4.5 times 3. I haven't even done this yet. This is the Cardano price prediction for 25, 26. You're looking at an $8 Cardano, $8.39. So there you go. I would not be sleeping on Cardano. I would not be selling my ADA bags at this point. Wait till ADA BTC unlocks all this Bitcoin DeFi. Of course, we don't know if 5-10% of liquidity will flood into this ecosystem, but I'm certainly keeping my fingers crossed. I'm staying bullish. I'm DZ, and I'll see you and your ADA and Bitcoin at the top.